on.
I got you.
Come.
Shalom, shalom. Unmute yourself, King.
He's on. He don't need it.
All right, Con. Shalom, shalom. Shabbat shalom to everybody that celebrates Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. And also Shabbat shalom to all those that's going to be celebrating their Sabbath whenever they celebrate it. We're just happy that you're celebrating it. You know what I'm saying? Keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. Today's going to be a good video. First and foremost, we want to give all honor and praise to the Most High God by the way of his Son, who's an instrument of salvation for the nation of Israel, right? Who gives us this wisdom, who gave us this understanding, who gave us the insight, who directs our paths, right? Proverbs 20 and 24 says what? Man doesn't understand his goings. So guess what? The Most High God had brothers on this live stream today go through what they was going through to get to this point so that we could talk about this without being what? Without being biased. So the Most High God, we didn't know we didn't know our path in life. We didn't know the things that we was going to experience in life and witness in life. But the Most High God brought us through and brought everybody through certain situations. Why? So that we can have testimonies, right? The Apostle Paul was a Pharisee, and he was an unrighteous Pharisee, killing the saints. But he had to go through that so he could have a testimony, so he could be blinded on the road of Damascus, right? If he didn't go through that, Christ would have never said, Paul, why are you persecuting me? You know what I'm saying? So the Most High God, he deals with men the way he does, and Most High will, this could be an edifying video. I'm your brother, Azrael.
Brother Yeshaya.
It's like your brother Donald. Con. So we're gonna get into this video real quick. You know what I'm saying? And how are we gonna start this video off is just, you know what I'm saying, giving some testimony, some testimonials, right? You had something, brother? You can bring it out.
Con, yeah, I wanted to start with a
precept.
Con. Let me find it real quick. Make sure I'm in the right spot. I got a preset to start off with, and I want to say, as the brother was saying, man, Shabbat Shalom to the nation. Hey, this video is made for edification's sake. This ain't no, whatchamacallit, just straight condemnation of our brothers and sisters who might not understand. And I'm going to read this precept to gain clarity. I'm trying to find it in the sword. Let me just read off my phone. Right? It doesn't take too much time. But y'all can hear me clear, right? If you can hear me. Okay. All right. So this is the book of Titus, chapter 3, verse number 3, right? And we're going to start off saying with, for we ourselves also were sometimes foolish, disobedient, deceived, serving divers lusts and pleasures, living in malice and envy, hateful and hating one another. But after that, the kindness and love of God, our Savior, toward man appeared, not by works of righteousness which we have done, but according to his mercy, he saved us by the washing of regeneration and renewing of the Holy Ghost, right? So I read that just to start off this video with saying, hey, look, to those who are going to watch, whether you agree, whether you disagree, hey, look, this is just for the purpose of edification. The brothers up here, specifically my brothers, man, hey, we know things that pertain to this because we've been through those type of things before. And this is all for the sake of understanding that we're not straight condemning or coming from a spot of where we can't relate. All of this is because we've done those things. The best teacher in life is experience. So anytime you experience something, when somebody's going through that same thing, you can give a testimony that can break somebody free from that same bondage. And this is all this is basically a gigantic testimony through the Spirit of the Most High. But go ahead.
Con, you know what I'm saying? The Bible tell us that multitude of days and years speak wisdom, paraphrasing, you know what I'm saying? So we got some days and we got some years where we were invested in some of the wrong things, which all of us do. And this path in this life, all of us do, you know what I'm saying? But like brother said, we're going to use it as a testimony. Like Paul, right? And say, I once was doing this, I once was doing that, but now, right, that I know better, I do better. Can we get Hebrews 10 and 26? Hey, do I have to share the screen, or do
I can share.
I would do it, but I ain't really well versed in it yet. I ain't really practiced for real. I know it's not that hard though. But
I
Con, if
got a
somebody
quick
can share
precept too.
all right, cool. Somebody could share it. We get Hebrews 10 and 26 before, because right now what we finna do is we all finna give our testimonies and our experiences, right? So we getting some precepts off real quick before we go into that, right?
Can I get a quick precept real quick before he brings that out?
Yeah, you can.
I guess kind of give like an opening statement too, right? This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 34 and verse number 9. A man that has traveled knoweth many things, right? And he that has much experience will declare wisdom, right? And so in this, the first part we see, a man that travels knows many things. And why am I bringing this out, right? Because the brothers that you see here before you, right? We're not just making aimless statements, right? We're not just shooting in the dark here, right? We done been to some places, right? We done seen some things, right? And we've acquired wisdom with that, right? And the second part says, and he that has much experience will declare wisdom. We got experience in this area, right? Before we go into it. So the things that we're about to say, the statements that we're about to make, right? It's not coming from a place of ignorance or of not knowing, right? We've gathered this experience, and now it's time to declare wisdom on the subject matter, right?
Con.
Turn your volume up, Brother Yeshaya. Huh?
Can you hear me?
Con.
Say something.
Some.
It's a little low.
I tried to tell you didn't need the headphones, my guy.
I mean, let me take.
No, you good though. You good now. You good now.
Good now. Yeah, it's straight.
Okay, let me.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, Con. Let me share my screen. Slokia. All right. So right here, we're in Hebrews chapter 10 and 26. It says, "For if we sin willfully, after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins."
Right. So we understand that the law is not done away with. There's still sacrifice for sins, but that sacrifice is who? That sacrificial lamb, which was Christ. So meaning, guess what? That law wasn't done away with. It was just replaced. It's still intact to this day. It's just a different sacrifice. But if you reject knowledge, the Most High God's going to reject you. So that's why we can no longer willfully stay in our sin once we get the knowledge of the truth, the history, the facts on this Factual Friday. You know what I'm saying? So we all came to the knowledge of the truth, and we came out of what we was doing because we love our people first and foremost, and we love our God, you know what I'm saying, above all. You know what I'm saying? You had something to bring out?
Con, mighty statement. And before we even get into all of this, it's important to know that, hey, look, we're talking about the difference between good and evil, but the good and evil we're talking about is predicated off of the Bible, right? There's one thing, if you don't believe what you're doing, if you don't believe in the Bible, right, you shouldn't be, you really shouldn't be, you know what I'm saying, paying attention to too much of what we got to say, right? Because there's nothing that we can say that's going to convince you, right? But also know that the facts that we're talking about are coming out the Bible. If you declare that you believe this book, right, and we're bringing out things that you didn't know, if it's in the book that you say you believe, you got to take it into consideration. You know what I'm saying? You got to take it into consideration. And and if you got a problem with it, either you submit, you change. If you got a problem with it, either you change your what how you feel and you submit to the Bible, or you go pick a different religion, right? You go pick a different a different book to read. There's plenty of books out there that will console your emotions and your opinions, right? But if you're saying you believe in this Bible, right, you have to take the things in it into consideration. Right. So the things that the things that we pull out, the precepts that we pull out today, just meditate on them. That's all we asking you to do.
Right, because this has nothing to do with the Christian church. It doesn't have nothing to do with any other religions and denominations. All this is the truth. You know what I'm saying? Yeshaya, can you get Galatians 4 and 16 for me? So this is nothing but the truth, like the brother is saying. And sometimes the truth hurts, right? And a lot of us that was in these Greek fraternities, we know that, hey, temporary, what they say, temporary pain for a lifetime of forever, whatever they say,
A
you know what I'm
moment
saying?
sacrifice for a lifetime of paradise.
Right. So sometimes truth gonna hurt you, you know what I'm saying? And you gotta endure that truth. Like the brother said, you got a decision to make. So let's read this. Galatians 4 and 16.
It says, "Am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth?"
Because I tell you the truth. A lot of times when you tell somebody the truth, they hate you for it. You know, a lot of times people say, man, you always know what to say, even if somebody don't want to hear it. Guess what? That's the truth. The truth is gonna set you free, though. You know what I'm saying?
Dang, never mind. No, I was just gonna go right to that. John 8:32.
Oh, Khan.
You know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
Khan. So that's what we're trying to do here is make people free. But before we get started, I just want to also say this. For everybody that's on this live stream or going to watch this live stream or watching another person's live stream, guess what? I want to commend you. Why? Because you could be doing anything right now. It's the summertime, it's a Friday night. You could be doing a multitude of things, adding sin to sin, but you're being students of the word, you're studying, you're fellowshipping, you're in unity, right? You're doing the commandments of the Most High God, keeping His Sabbath day. But so we finna get into these testimonies. I would like for Yeshaya to go first, then Denal, and then me. If the brothers don't have a problem with that.
Khan, I don't have a problem with it.
Right. And we're not, for the sake of strife, we're not going to mention no school names, no chapter names, nothing like that. We're just going to give strictly our experience because it ties into what we're going to go into in the Bible. Right. So we're going to give our experiences. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to roll like that.
Khan. So let me just start with a precept. Let me go to the book of Luke chapter 16 and verse number 13. All right. So reading this, it says, "No servant can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon," right? So the reason I'm starting off with this is sharing a little bit about my relation to Greek life and Greek customs and Greek culture. It's not that long. It's not that deep. Mine isn't really too profound like as many of my other brothers who left their organizations, but just sharing a little bit about me. So, of course, man, I grew up. I didn't know too much about GLOs, Greek letter organizations, right? Didn't know too much about it outside of one fraternity. And I'm gonna just say that fraternity my dad wanted to be a part of, and he used to tell me about it all the time. I relocated down to Georgia when I was about 9, and going up in middle school, I was about 11, 12, went to this middle school, used to be called Morgan Road, but it's no longer Morgan Road anymore.
Salakia, we can mention Greek, the Greek fraternity in itself, just not like chapters in schools.
Yeah. So we're going to that school, man. I had a mentor. His name was, I'm gonna keep his name personals, but just his initials is CC. But I'm gonna call him Coach Collins, man. I had Coach Collins. He was my mentor. Hey, look, he was in the fraternity, and the fraternity he's in was Kappa Alpha Psi. So, growing up in Georgia, Augusta, being introduced to, you know what I'm saying, his lifestyle, had another mentor named Mr. Middleton in the same fraternity, the same brotherhood. They played a huge impact on my life as far as like, you know, teaching me about life, teaching me how to be a man, this, that, and the third. So long story short, growing up throughout high school, never really paid attention to it. It wasn't until I had another mentor named Mr. Jeff come and kind of take me under his wing and just kind of show me these ropes, because he was trying to help me get into college. He was a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated as well. and pretty much through him, I had got in the Augusta Kappa League, and from there, I kind of really wasn't too much invested until like I got to college. Now, going to college, you know what I'm saying? I went to a HBCU. So you go to HBCUs, man, Greek life is really pushed heavily. That's something that a lot of people tell you that when you first get on campus, before you even really make a surety of what you want to major in, they ask you like, what you gonna pledge? What you gonna pledge? You know what I'm saying? This, that, and the third. And that's something I never really took thought of, but I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to do a lot of different organizations only because I looked and seen it was cool, you know. But the reason I read Luke 16 and 13 was because when I finally, a few years into my collegiate career, when I finally decided, you know what I'm saying, which organization that I wanted to roll with, which was, you know what I'm saying, Kappa Alpha Psi, the whole trying to, you know what I'm saying, get to become on the other side of that organization to actually become a real member, that whole process was something that I could never get in my mind to commit to. And that's because Luke 16 and 13 played in my head over and over and over again. Anytime it was anything to do with Kappa or something, I would always just have this scripture playing in my head over and over and over again. And it was a constant battle between the spirit and the flesh. Just as far as to say, I used to inquire of the Lord. I used to pray to the Lord, ask me like to show me signs, visions, and wonders, saying like, if this is for me to do, let me be able to do it. You know what I'm saying? I used to tell him like, hey, look, if it's bad, then let me see for myself, that kind of thing. And I talked to my mom about it. I talked to my pastor at the time about it. My mom was telling me, don't do it. It's wicked. My pastor was telling me, hey, look, that's your discernment. Whatever the spirit leads you to do, just as long as you glorify the Most High in the process, that's all that matters, right? So I had a lot of mentors. Another mentor I had, Mr. Branscombe Sr., I call him Mr. B, but he was a Sigma. And like I said, it was a lot of different roles that played in on my life when it comes to Greek life in a sense. But like I said, when I finally made that decision, when I wanted to say I wanted to become a brother of Kappa Alpha Psi, that's when, you know, when you wanting to get to the stage of going through the process to become, you know what I'm saying, a member of that fraternity, there's things that's required of you. And I just never could ever get my mind and my heart truly set on doing that because, like I said, it was almost like my spirit felt convicted as if I went through this, right, knowing what I know, knowing that it's really not of the Most High. If I go through this process, you know what I'm saying, willfully knowing it, I would feel like I turned my back completely on the Most High God. And like I said, I never, for those people who watching, for those people who listening, viewing, I never finished the process. I never truly actually went through the process of becoming a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. I was a wannabe. I was what they would call it as a GDI. I was a wannabe, but I did have some experiences, and pretty much, like I said, everything that I went through wasn't pretty much of the Most High. It wasn't at all. And that was just that confirmation that he showed me, you know what I'm saying, after praying on it, after thinking that, you know what I'm saying, hey, look, I could be the person to change that. What you got to think about in your mind is Ecclesiastes. Matter of fact, let me pull that real quick. It's the book of Ecclesiastes. I'm going to pull this out. Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 1. Salaki, my son crying in the background. Right. Sorry, I'm trying to be quick on the sword. I can't even pull it out. Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse number 9. It says, the thing that hath been, it is that which shall be. And that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. So reading this is to just elaborate on the process of, hey, look, sometimes we have this mindset, I'm going to be the person that go in and be the light. I'm going to be the person that go in and change this for the better. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, you can't do that. Because the thing that hath been is that which shall be. You know what I'm saying? The origin of something is 9 times out of 10 what it is today. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of us like to try to pacify it, water it down, dumb it down to try to kind of fit the narrative of what goes on. But look, on the inside of these things, hey, look, I've seen things that, you know what I'm saying, I'm not going to say much about, but I've seen things, I've heard things, I've done things, and all of these things are not of God. You know what I'm saying? And that's partially why I never could truly commit myself to doing so. Not that I couldn't have done it, but I just felt like in my spirit, man, I felt too convicted that if I did this, I would be eternally damned. That's just the way I felt. Not everybody's going to feel like that, and not everybody's journey is going to be like, oh, they didn't even get a chance to experience that side of life. I wanted that side of life because I seen what came with it. All the things that they say that comes with it. But that wasn't what the Lord had in my lot. So with that being said, I'm going to just say that, hey, that's just a little bit of synopsis of my relation to Greek life, Greek culture, this, that, and the third. Not too deep, but I'm sure that the brothers, you know what I'm saying, are going to elaborate more than that. But I yield.
So the brother was a god dang individual. He was a GDI, right? So he just gave his little testimony. He left out a lot. You know, I thought he was gonna go in, you know, but it's cool. The brother witnessed a lot of stuff. He went through a lot of stuff. He was made to do a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm pretty sure it's stuff that he's not proud of to this day. But with that being said, that was the brother's testimony as from that point of view, somebody that started and didn't make it on the other side because the Most High will had him to not go all the way in, you know, and we give all praises and honor for that he didn't have to endure that stumbling block, right? But next up,
Con, hey, let me add this real quick before I pass the mic. I just want to say that in a sense of the things that I experienced, you know what I'm saying? Hey, look, a lot of that stuff, man, hey, they tell you, a lot of what they tell you is that, you know what I'm saying? Hey, look, this stuff is for the greater good. Hey, I put it like this. I'm liking everything that everything that I was told by my partners, you know what I'm saying, who are now in that organization. I'm gonna tell you, like I told this. I said, anytime you go through something in life and it's hardship, you're supposed to learn from that, right? Like the book of Romans, chapter 15 and verse 4 says, the things written aforetime were written for our learning. So anytime you go through something in life, or people who go through something in life before you, you're supposed to take what they went through and build on it as far as learn from it and learn what not to do, right? Especially if it's going against the Most High. But a lot of these organizations are telling you that you got to go through this stuff because the person who founded this went through that stuff, and that's not how something life should be. In a sense, if I'm going through hardship, right, I'm financially struggling, I'm working hard trying to provide for my children. I'm doing that so my children don't have to struggle. I'm not going through that and then gonna tell my children when they get of age, look, I'm gonna make you struggle because I had to do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? That's reverse progress. That's not progress. That's in progress. But go ahead, brother.
Is Azrael saying something, or you on mute?
Salakia, what I was saying was that goes against the Bible. A lot of stuff that we went through goes against the Bible. So the Bible tells us to study to show ourselves approved, right? And the things written aforetime was written for our learning. So we got to study this. A lot of times you join these organizations, they'll be like, did you do your studying? Did you study? A lot of people ask you, what made you choose that one? Did you study? What did you find out? Right? But we should be studying this book because this book ultimately is our heritage. And this book is going to tell us what we should and what should not be doing, right? So the next speaker is going to be Danal, you know, and Danal is going to give his testimony.
Shalom, brother Danal. And first and foremost, man, I want to say, hey, it's a mighty points brought out by the brother Yeshaya. I ain't gonna cap to you, man. We decided to do this video, and at first, man, I knew this part was gonna come up because we had vaguely discussed it. And at first, man, I thought to myself, I'm probably just gonna opt out, man. I ain't gonna tell nobody my background, you know what I'm saying, or my affiliation with Greek life or anything like that. But I had other thoughts, you know, and for the edification of the nation of Israel, the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and for the conduciveness of this video, you know what I'm saying, it's only right. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna go precept upon precept to show why it's only right. Can somebody pull up Philippians 3 and verse number 5? Philippians 3 and verse number 5. We're gonna start out with a confession, right? This is Paul.
This is the book of Philippians, chapter 3, verse number 5. Circumcised the 8th day of the stock of Israel.
Hold up.
Or you want? 2 and you on 2 and 5. Let this mind be in you.
Nah, I want this one. This is Paul. I'll give a little bit of context of what's happening, right? This is Paul speaking, right? And he's kind of talking about himself, right? And at the same time, he's giving a confession, right? You can start from the top of 5 again.
Okay, verse number 5. Circumcised the 8th day of
right?
the stock.
It says that Paul was circumcised on the 8th day, right? He's telling me a little about himself, right? Keep reading.
Of the stock of Israel, of the tribe of Benjamin, and Hebrew of the Hebrews.
Right.
Salakia, as touching the law, a Pharisee.
As touching the law, he said he was a Pharisee, right? I want to put emphasis on that part where he said he's a Pharisee, right? At this time, right, especially in the New Testament, if you had the truth, being a Pharisee wasn't a good thing, right? If you had the real truth, you know what I'm saying? So him coming out and confessing, hey, look, man, I used to be a Pharisee, right? He's letting it be known, right? Can you keep reading for me?
Concerning zeal, persecuting the church.
Right. He said, hey, when I was a Pharisee, right, I was persecuting the church. This man's confessing his faults at this point, right? He's saying, yes, I'm Paul. I'm trying to tell you right from wrong. And yes, I did all these things in my past, right? I was a Pharisee, right? I persecuted the church. He used to kill Christians, right? Keep reading.
Touching the righteousness which is in the law, blameless.
Right. Now he's getting, you know what I'm saying? He's getting a little proud in his speech a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And read 7, because he's going to clarify why he was speaking like this.
Verse number 7. But what things were gained to me, those I counted loss for Christ.
Right. Right. And that's the main focal point. What things were gained to me when I was in this culture, right? When I was indulged in Greek life, right? What things were gained to me other than mortal things, right? And vain pleasures, right? You might get girls might flock to you a little bit more, right? You might get a little bit of you might get to skip the line when he's going to parties and stuff like that, right? You know what I'm saying? An area that is very misconstrued is you might get a job, right? But one thing people don't know is that you getting the job just because you're in a fraternity or a sorority is pretty much the same chance of you getting a job if you're not in one, right? They hype it up to be something that it's really not, right? And I know that for a fact. I know a bunch of people that was in the fraternity that I was in, right, that had good jobs, right, and possibly could have made ways for me, and they didn't, right? A lot of them, you know what I'm saying, you know, and I was left hanging, right? And I'm just being honest, you know what I'm saying? Can somebody get Revelation 18:4 real quick?
Right. Just the book of Revelation, chapter 18 and verse number 4. It says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues.
Right. Another reason why we're making these confessions is that, hey, look, we were told to, and like the brother said, right, you can't go into these things thinking you're going to change them when the Most High God is commanding you to come out of these things, right? And I'm saying that because of this. Can you pull up Ecclesiastes 7:13? You can't go in when the Most High God is telling you to come out of wickedness, right? You can't change wickedness. If you understand, if you got ears to hear, right? And I'm gonna show you what I mean. Ecclesiastes 7:13, right?
Consider the work of God, for who can make that straight which he hath made crooked?
If God deems something to be crooked, if God deems something to be not of him, right? We can't make it what we want to make it, right? A lot of times, a lot of people in fraternities and sororities, they'll be like, yeah, I understand it got its wickedness about it, but it is what you make it, right? You know what I'm saying? They'll tell you that's not what it is to me, right? Or I don't see it that way. It doesn't matter what you see, right? It's a matter of what you're in and what you represent at the end of the day. Like the brother was saying, a lot of times we got to study the origin of these things. You know what I'm saying? If the origin of it is wicked, ain't nothing you can do. If you're associated with it, right, you're furthering that wickedness, right? The book of Sirach tells us, hey, look, don't be careful not to kindle the coals of a sinner, right? You being in something that was originally wicked, right? Whether you believe it's wicked or not, you're adding coals to that fire of sin, right? And so I just want to get those precepts out before I get my little confession, man. I'm not gonna be too long-winded on my confession, right? I'm gonna be kind of vague, you know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna give, you know, the basics, right? So growing up, you know, me and my brother, we little background about us. We grew up in the church, you know, and I think from a young age we submitted our we made ourselves proud to say that we were followers of the Bible, right? But we didn't really read the Bible like that, you know what I'm saying? A lot of colloquial Christians today. We play basketball, right? And why am I saying we play basketball? It gets key when we go into how everything happened. So we went to a school, right, in Birmingham, Alabama, and the only thing that was on our mind was playing basketball, right? Shalom. The only thing that was on our mind was playing basketball. We get to the school and instantly, right, we feel the pressure of these fraternities reaching out to us, right, wanting us to pledge and whatnot. I mean, they were coming up to us in the gym while we were putting up shots. They was coming to us while we was in the library trying to do homework and stuff of that nature, right? And we really weren't too much pressed. And I'll show you. I'll tell you that the moment we got pressed is when, you know, a beloved member of our family, right? He ended up crossing, right? Omega Psi Phi, right? That's the fraternity that we're dealing with here, right? He ended up crossing Omega Psi Phi, right? This lovely gentleman was my father, our father, me and Azrael, right? And once he pledged, man, if anybody knows us, they know that, you know, us as twins, we're daddy's boys. You know what I'm saying? Once he pledged, it was kind of a wrap from there, man, because we wanted to do everything our dad wanted to do, right? And so then we started set out. It was in the back of our mind, right? We went to his probate. It was kind of cool. You know what I'm saying? He did grad chapter. Whoop, 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 bang. And now we're transferring schools. As soon as we transfer schools, you know, my dad, being a man that he is, right, he's making connections for us, right? He said, y'all want to be in the fraternity? Cool. I'm making some connections for you. He's calling folks at the school like, hey, my boys is coming. They trying to get down, right? And so that happened. Lo and behold, right, we get put online. When we get put online, something happened to where I cannot continue anymore, right? I just want to it might be folly, but I want to make this statement. It's not because I folded, right? It was not of my will to drop the line, right? It might be folly, but I want to let y'all know, you know what I'm saying? Your boy got a little tough in him, you know? Yeah, I'm not going
to. Well, tell them why you did not make the line.
Okay. I mean, we're not keeping secrets here. I made the line, right? And throughout the process, right, we were dealing with transfer credits and stuff of that nature, right? We had just transferred schools. So the deal was, if you're a transfer student, not only does your overall GPA have to be straight, but your transfer GPA has to be straight too, right? Well, I meant to say that backwards. So my transfer GPA, which is the GPA that came from my last school, was good, right? But my overall GPA was a little bit underneath. I think I was down like 0.1 or 0.2 from making the cutoff. And that's because we had just transferred, and I ain't gonna lie, I had failed my first class ever, right? Failed a class, my GPA went down, and I was pledging for maybe about 2 or 3 weeks, and then that's when I couldn't continue no more when they found out my overall GPA wasn't meeting the standard. And so I had dropped out then. And then my brother, he'll tell his story, but he goes on to cross the burning sands, right? Or to become in the fraternity, right? The whole time, man, I'm feeling some type of way. This was about 2016, man, and I went through a major depression, right? Not only because, you know, I didn't get to finish, right? And what added to it was the fact that I didn't get to finish, and the fact that my brother and my dad were in this fraternity as this organization, and they could get this bond going, right? They could talk about things and whatnot. And they were being kind of secretive to me, right? And you know, as a family member, you know, I that kind of did something to your boy, right? And the crazy part is this almost the same thing happened like that in the truth, right? But in a better way, right? That's another story for another time. But so after that happened, while I was pledging, my grandfather had died. You know, I was dealing with some relationship problems as well. And as soon as I got kicked off of the line, I went to go play basketball. I'm talking about the day I got kicked off the line, I went to go play basketball, and I tore my Achilles, right? And so all hell's just breaking loose, man. And I go to this spiral of a depression for like 2 years, right? And I'm making it my sole mission that I have to get back online, and I have to, you know what I'm saying, cross the burning sands, right? And it to the point where it's consuming my whole life, you know what I'm saying? And so half of my life was consumed in Omega Psi Phi or trying to be a part of Omega Psi Phi, and the other part was playing basketball. None of it was about God, you know what I'm saying? And so time goes on and whatnot, and they keep starting up lines, and they're putting me on them, and then the line would fail, right? And so time goes. So I think that was 2016. I didn't get to be on a successful line until the year of 2019, right? So I get online 2019, and at this point it's crazy because by the time I get online, I already got some knowledge of the truth, right? I know that we Israelites, right? I'm not really sure how I know we're Israelites through the Bible or anything. What is the burning sands? So the burning sands is literally, I'll say it is, for lack of better terms, it's the crossing over of being somebody that's not in a fraternity to somebody that's being in a fraternity, right? And they make they make a big ordeal of pretty much saying like you're crossing over into a new life. You know what I'm saying? And it's all ritual. Crossing the burning sand is ritualistic in itself, right? We'll get into that a little bit later though, right? Going on with my story.
If I could say something too, crossing the burning sands would be like you could parallel that to something as far as what do they call it? The stuff like what do they call that? Superstition. You know what I'm saying? Just like how they say we were supposed to jump the broom at our wedding. You know what I'm saying? It's superstitious. So when you jump that broom, it's kind of symbolizing, okay, you can't turn back now type of thing. You know what I'm saying? The burning sands would be like, pretend like there's some sand that's on fire. You know what I'm saying? And the sand is super hot. And once you walk across it, you know what I'm saying? There's no coming back. So that's the kind of what the burning sands is in a layman's terms kind of explanation.
Right. You're really there. It's symbolizing you taking on another life, if that makes sense, right? And so going back to my story, right? In 2019, I finally get on a successful line, right? I got some knowledge of the truth, right? And it's a little, and my father, at this time, my father and my brother are kind of like fully in the truth, right? And they're advising me not to do it. But the selfishness and pride within me, I had to do it because my dad went through it and my brother went through it. So I gotta do it. You know what I'm saying? Like passing through the fire, right? Passing through the fire, that's very, very great, because all throughout the scriptures we see, you know what I'm saying, where is it paraphrasing, thou shalt not pass through the fire for Molech, right? For any other gods. And that's what we was doing, right? And we had to repent from that. You know what I'm saying?
Like the brother just said, passing through the fire, that's a perfect example, because to us, that's not what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? To us, it's something superstitious, but to the Bible, that's literally what we're saying we're doing. We're saying we're passing through the fire purposefully.
Right. And so, great point. And so 2019, man. So at this time, my dad and my brother are like legit, like almost like, I know my dad was full-fledged in the truth. I think Austin, he was like 85% in the truth, 90% in the truth, right? About keeping these laws and statutes and commandments. But we're all still learning at this time, right? Both of them were advising me not to join, right? And you know, I was just being hard-headed because I had to get these things done, right? I had a bucket list and I had to cross it off, right? Just so it was one of those things where I guess I could say that, you know how Christ said, if you love your mother, your brother, your sister more than me, you're not fit for the kingdom. At this time, man, I was loving my relationship with my father and my brother more than the kingdom, man, because I wanted to be a part of something that, you know what I'm saying, I got to witness them go through and them finish and whatnot. And I wanted to have those memories to share with them and things of that nature, right? But they were telling me things like, my father was telling me things like, hey, make sure when you go and you do the rituals and all of that stuff, make sure you don't say anything that you don't agree with, right? Make sure you pay attention to what they're telling you to say. If you don't agree with it, don't say it, right? Because a lot of people don't know that. Like, I'm sure we'll get into it in this video, but when you cross the burning sands, you have a reading process, right? Which is the last ceremony, right? And they put blindfolds on you to tell you to dress in all black, tell you to get on your knees and put your hand up and swear on oaths and stuff like this, right? And I'm glad he said that, because when I was on my knees, man, I had my hand up like a dummy, right? I was at least paying attention to the words that were saying. And if I didn't agree with it, I didn't say it. You know what I'm saying? And my brother was telling me, hey, look, bro, Azrael was telling me, hey, look, you don't want to be in it, bro. You don't want to be in it. It's evil, it's wicked, bro. It's stressful. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, man, to hell what you talking about, man. You know, I gotta be in this thing, right? You saying that now, but I see all the love and all the praise you be getting, man. You know what I'm saying? And so the pride in me had to finish, right? So I finished, crossed the burning sands, and you know, then my life started to fluctuate. I thought my life was getting better, you know what I'm saying? And because I was so lost that like the brother Foster was saying, or brother as Yeshaya was saying, Salakia, I would go to bed and pray about these things. Like, man, you got to think, from 2016 to 2019, I was trying to be in this fraternity, and I would go to bed praying to God that he makes some way for me to get in this, not knowing that the whole time he was making these lines fail. He was making these complications for me and all this stuff. He was trying to prevent me from getting in that, right? But what does the Bible say, right? That wisdom will walk with you through crooked ways. But if you keep choosing the wrong thing, it'll give you over to your ruin. And that's what wisdom did. It gave me over to my ruin, right? And I joined the fraternity and I crossed, right? Within me crossing, man, I had some good fleshly times, some vain times, right? But also the wife that I'm married to today, right? It brought about complications in our relationship to the point where we ended up breaking up. You know what I'm saying? And so it brought some complications on the things that I really should have valued, if that makes sense. And I'll say the transition getting out of the fraternity, when I really submitted myself to this Bible, to submitted myself to this truth, I tried to make the parallel of staying in, and I think everybody will tell you it just doesn't work, right? I try to have, and I started seeing the division. I would bring up the Bible, and we would have conversations about the Bible, and people would be like, but that's enough about that, bro. I don't want to talk about that no more. I don't want to talk about no more. Where the girls at? You know what I'm saying? And I started making the vision in my head, like, well, technically, you know, the fraternity is supposed to be founded on the Bible. So why don't we want to talk about the Bible? You know what I'm saying? And so little things like that, I couldn't deal with no more, right? And got overwhelming to the point where I just kept seeing wickedness happen, and I couldn't be around it no more, right? So I had to excuse myself. And I told you I wasn't going to be too long-winded, right? That was a little bit long-winded, but you know, I wanted to hit the main points of, you know, how it was introduced to my life, how I got into it, and a little bit of how I got out.
All praises.
Yeah, let me bring out this precept real quick, because he said something throughout it. Just want to make this point. All right. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5, and I'm gonna go to verse number. I'm gonna start at verse number 34. So this is Matthew 5:34, and it says, "But I say unto you," this is Christ speaking, right? "But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne, nor by earth, for it is his footstool, neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. Neither shalt thou swear by thy head, because thou cannot make one hair white or black. But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay. For whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil, right? So just like the brother was elaborating on in his ceremony, you got to put your right hand up, you got to affirm, you got to swear, you got to make an oath, right? Oath to the organization that you're pledging. Christ told us, hey, look, make not swear neither by heaven, nor by earth, nor by our own heads, right? Because we can't change the color of our hair. We can't swear by heaven because, hey, look, heaven is his throne, earth is his footstool. You know what I'm saying? This is why we say the things that we say when it comes to GLOs is that a lot of things are against the Most High God. You know what I'm saying? You can try your best when you're getting read into affirm and just say, well, I didn't say that and I didn't say that. But if you're a part of that process, hey, look, I think that's Proverbs 11 and 21, where it's talking about though hand join in hand. You know what I'm saying? And if you found caught in that day with the wicked, guess what's going to happen to you too? You're going to get thrust through. But Khan, Salakia.
Khan, so hey, the brothers gave some mighty testimonies. I'm gonna give my testimony. My testimony is gonna be a little bit more uncut. The brothers kind of went easy, you know what I'm saying? The brothers kind of, you know, kept discretion, right? I don't know if that's Stockholm syndrome or what.
Nah.
But
Here's what I say before you. I thought we was just, you know what I'm saying, giving a brief synopsis because we was gonna get into all the deeper stuff later on.
Well, the reason why we're giving these testimonies first and foremost is not to bash nobody or, like the brother said, send anybody to hell or, you know what I'm saying, say, oh, these people are so evil. The reason why we're giving these testimonies is to give our credibility, right? Before we do this video, to let y'all know what we've gone through, what we've seen, what we've heard, what we've experienced, and that we are eligible and we are capable of giving this lesson, right?
Well, then can I clarify some things real quick before you go?
All right, Salakia. Because this lesson can't be given by just anybody, right? This lesson got to be given by somebody that's experienced this stuff. This lesson got to be given by somebody that's went through this stuff. It can't be given by somebody that's heard, somebody that is just what they say is conspiracy theorists. It got to be somebody that walked through it, right? Paul was able to tell the Pharisees what they was doing wrong because he was a Pharisee that was doing wrong, right? So that's why we're giving these testimonies, right? Go ahead.
Come on, man. I want to say real quick, man, just to give some of my credentials, right, to back up what the brother's saying. Yeah, so from 2016 to 2019, yes, I got online in 2019, but from 2016 to 2019, I was on various lines, and with that, I was pledging that whole time, right? I was doing things for the fraternity, whether that was buying brothers food, washing people's cars, getting hit, getting beat, getting paddled. You know what I'm saying? Doing dumb stuff like catching chicken bones in my mouth and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? All the way up to 2019, where I really got it on, or really got down with the fraternity. And you know, if you ever seen that movie on Netflix called Burning Sands, man, I'll say that Burning Sands is pretty accurate, but it's almost as if it's even worse than Burning Sands, right? You know what I'm saying? When you're actually going through the process. I mean, from initiation night, you getting full-fledged jumped, right? You blindfold and you getting jumped by a whole bunch of men, right? And I know some people's cases, right? Somebody might take a hammer to you, right? I've heard people been getting beat by stop signs. I didn't personally get beat by a stop sign, but I did get initially jumped, man. You go through various of things, man, where, you know, you really got to psych yourself out and deal with a lot of pain and whatnot. But I want to show my credentials because I actually was the rock of my line. And what does that mean? That, you know what I'm saying, that the rock of the line is the person that endured the best, right? The person that took the most heat, I guess, the person that, held the most responsibility, the one that held that line together, right? And that person has to be a Pharisee of Pharisees, you know what I'm saying, in a sense, right? That person has to be, he says, dang, man, that's a game, to be honest. Brother, I want to tell you, it's worse than the game, because in the game, man, you might be in there for a minute, 5 minutes, right? You getting jumped, right? And you going through getting hit with tree limbs and stuff of this nature, right? And it's for month or 2 months or so, right? You know what I'm saying? It's every night, you know what I'm saying? So it's in a lot of cases it's worse than a gang, right? But you know, for my credentials, yeah, man, I was the rock of my line, right? My line name that they gave me was dang, I don't forgot my line name. What was my line name? Rock hard. Well, no, rock solid. Oh, I'm tripping. Hey, but all praise that I forgot that. You know what I'm saying? But my line name was Rock Solid, man. Right? And I was the rock of my line. So when I'm telling you these things, and even when I came off the line, right, my first initial thought was I gotta learn everything about a fraternity, right? So I had some knowledge, some deeper understanding about the knowledge and the principles of the fraternity, right? We can tell you what the principles of the fraternity are, right? We can tell you what the fraternity was founded on, all of these things, right? But just to let the brother said, just to give my credentials, man. As Paul said, he was a Pharisee, right? As touching the law, he was a Pharisee, and a person. And when it came to his zeal, he was persecuting the Christians. He was killing the Christians, right? Same thing I'm trying to tell you right now. Look, I pledged from 2016 to 2019, right? I was about it, right? When I got online, I was the rock of the line, right? I took that heat, right? After I came out, right? I'm gonna say this, right? People on my line might disagree, right? Some people on my line may agree, right? But when I came out, I was that man, right? Everywhere we went, hey, look, I'll say this. After I broke up with my wife, I was into some folly, right? Everywhere I went, if I wanted a girl, she was mine. You know what I'm saying? Like when it came to making friends and of other fraternities and whatnot, it was easy, right? You know what I'm saying? I counted myself as a follower of my line for sure. Before we got online, when we got online, and even afterwards, right? You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to credentials, trust me and believe. And this is Omega Psi Phi. If you know anything about Omega Psi Phi, everybody knows that Omega Psi Phi pledges hard, right? Everybody knows that when it comes to fraternities, hey, Omega Psi Phi, if you in Omega Psi Phi, you know about Greek life for real, and you living all of that. You getting everything. You not, and we wasn't a lame frat, right? I'm gonna call a spade a spade. You have lame fraternities.
Wrap it up.
Hey, you brother, we got lame fraternities, like, you know what I'm saying? Some people might consider the Iotas lame, the Sigmas lame, right? You got the other Greek fraternities like A5Q and stuff like that. At the top tier of fraternities, you got Omega Psi Phi and Kappa Alpha Psi. You got the Q dogs, and you got the Kappas. And we're telling you, hey, look, as touching the law, Pharisees. As touching wickedness, hey, look, you're looking at them. So best believe when we tell you, hey, look, we done been there, we done done that. We done been there and we done done that, right? And that was just for the brother, because the brother, you know what I'm saying? He said,
come on now. All right. Dang, I didn't expect to make you have a whole nother testimony.
Golly. My credentials.
Golly. Right? So we have the brother Yeshaya was a god dang individual, as they say, a GDI. We have the brother Denal. He was in the frat for about a year.
About 2 years.
About a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
Did a lot of pre-pledge. Both brothers did a lot of pre-pledging.
Wait, so keep in mind, I was in for 2 years, about 2 years.
Right.
But
they heard you. They heard you. They heard you.
Right? I'm just saying, so from 2016 to 2019, now I was getting.
You was credible. That's all folly though, but you was credible. But okay, so before I give my testimony, can you please go to Job 14:4? All right, and when I give my testimony, it's nothing to brag about. I'm ashamed of all this stuff. When I give my testimony, also, I want you guys to know that this is just to prove to y'all that the Most High God still does miracles, right? He's not only bringing people out of gangs. He's not only bringing people out of religion. He's not only bringing people out of strip clubs and stuff like that. He's bringing people also out of Greek life and other cultures and heritages, right? Because we know there's brothers and sisters that were Egyptologists, brothers and sisters that was into all different type of studies, Pan-Africanists, right? So this is just one of those things, right? But if you could read that for me, Baba Kashaf, please. I think is your mic muted?
Oh, it says, who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? Not one.
Not one. Nobody can do this, right? So I'm gonna try to make this as brief as possible because the two brothers right here, they was kind of long-winded. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's already 55 minutes in this thing. But what I'm gonna say is not one person can bring something clean out of something that's unclean. So going into this fraternity thing, man, You know what I'm saying? I thought I was that clean person that could bring about a clean thing out of an unclean thing, right? I told myself I'm gonna be a light. I had my lines rehearsed, right? If somebody asked me, why did you join Omega Psi Phi? Man, I've done plenty of forums, plenty of events where I was speaking to people and got plenty of claps and applause after I was done speaking, right? I got a whole job after I was done speaking one time. You know what I'm saying? So I knew I was well versed and I was witty with my words, as King Solomon said before he got understanding. I was witty with my words. You know what I'm saying? I was an intelligent young man, right? According to Babylon. But what I want to say is it changed me, and it didn't change me for the good, right? Before I was in the fraternity, like I was an athlete, but I was always kind of what they might say a goody two shoes. It was always a law unto me to try to be as righteous and as holy as I could, even though I wasn't reading the Bible, right? So I wasn't really having sex like that. I wasn't smoking. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't doing none of that stuff. None, right? None. To this day, I've never been high. To this day, I've never been drunk out my blackout drunk. All praise to the Most High God. I haven't been led in that direction. I've never been addicted to nothing, right? But what I can say is that this fraternity, right? Because I pledged Omega Psi Phi, and I also was the rock on my line. I was in Omega Psi Phi for about 4 years, right? I'll say about 4 years. And when I say everybody in Georgia in my fraternity knew who I was, right? I knew these sororities. We road tripped outside of the states. I was very well known. Instagram was very well known. You know, had nicknames, had line names, had I was renowned. You know what I'm saying? I was a man of renown, you could say. But I'm not proud of that. You know what I'm saying? But what I will say is, you had something?
Yeah, I got 2 quick things real quick, right? Like the brother was saying, man, you know, even on the Omega Psi Phi page on Instagram, we went viral. You know what I'm saying? When we posted pictures and whatnot, right? Like for graduation. But I also want to say you a liar, man, because you have been drunk and I've witnessed it, bro. You might not.
I said blackout drunk. Let me tell my story. Golly.
I'm just hey, man.
Don't bear false witness on me. I'm treading my words wisely. So I haven't been blackout drunk, but that's why I told you. That's why I made the statement that this fraternity has changed me. The fraternity did change me, right? I went from that to over time starting to having sex more, right? Didn't get too crazy, but it wasn't me, right? And I noticed it wasn't me. Started making more excuses for myself, right? I started, being a life of the party, so to speak. We have house parties, block parties, dancing on roofs of buildings and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Starting to get drunk, right? The first time I ever been drunk in life was after I pledged. Because one thing about it is, and the Bible speaks about this too, right? And we're going to go into it today. But the Bible also speaks about making a covenant with the heathen for instant fame, for instant benefits, for instant gratification, right? And a lot of times we do these things and we say, well, I'm joining this for what reason? So I can get a better job, so I can be plugged in. And that's some of the stuff I told myself. But some of the stuff I went through was it was not righteous at all, right? Being beat to where you got bruises on you, right? Being kicked in your chest, punched in your gut multiple times.
Hot sauce poured in your eyes.
Hot sauce, beer, all that poured on you for no reason. Being shaved, all that is Greek culture. That's not us, right? That's not us. But I went through it. I also had the experience of putting other brothers through that, right? And making it about God somehow, stretching the scriptures and making it about God somehow, because brothers knew I went to church. Brothers knew I try to keep it holy. So I made converts, like the Bible says, we made converts and proselytes, and they're 2 times the child of hell than we are, right? Because think about it. If somebody you think, right, is always doing the right thing, you're not going to study for yourself. You're going to take that man's word on it. So a lot of people took my word on it, and they indulged in the life that I was in because I lied. At the end of the day, that's what I did. I lied. You know what I'm saying? So I put people through that, stole people's money. You know what I'm saying? People get their money stolen. And, the Bible tells us to give our heart, mind, and our soul, our free will offerings, all that to the Lord. But we end up doing this for these organizations, for this Greek life. And I've witnessed and done all of that. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to credentials and stuff like that, you have a plethora of brothers on here tonight that have witnessed these things, right? Have done these things, that are ashamed of these things, right? But that's all on that. Don't want to get too much long-winded, but just know, you know, you're looking at somebody, you're looking at some brothers that, you know, we know what we're talking about, and we want our people to come out. So let's get the definition of what do I want to start this with? Let's get the definition of Hellenized or Hellenistic. Right? What does that say?
So it says Hellenized.
You want to get National Panhellenic Council first or no?
No, I want to get this word first.
I'm gonna pull that up next though. But let me zoom in a little bit, right? So you can see on the screen. So Hellenized means made Greek or Hellenistic in form or character.
Right. So it says made Greek. So a lot of times we as blacks, right? Because what we're talking about is the divine nine. What we're talking about is the MPHC, like the brothers just said. So we're talking about our people. We're talking about black. We're talking about the minorities, right? It says made Greek. And a lot of us, we're proud to be made. We're proud to have gone through something. We're proud to have been forced to do something. But our ancestors was not proud to be forced to do anything. They were not proud to be forced out of their religion, out of their heritage, out of their culture, right? It said they were made to do something. Slavery in America, we were made to do something. So that was a form of Hellenization, giving us a new language to speak, new clothes, new activities to do, new holidays, right? That's what Hellenized means. And particularly Greek culture. That's what the definition said, right? So we can get what was the next one you was gonna get?
National Panhellenic Council.
Right. So the Divine Nine, they call themselves the National Panhellenic Council. Let's break that word down. National meaning what? Meaning in the United States, it's national. Pan meaning all, or the grouping of, or the just the broad or generalized term or something, right? Pan meaning all. Hellenic comes from what? Hellenization. So the National Panhellenic Council is the Divine Nine, the Greek Divine Nine for our people, the Hellenization, right? So it says the National Panhellenic Council is a collaborative umbrella, that's a good word, council composed of historically African American fraternities and sororities. The member organizations, collectively nicknamed Divine Nine, have not formally adopted nor recommended the use of this term to describe or collaborative group. Huh? You have some?
Yeah, Khan. I want to point this out. It's not by mistake that it's called the National Panhellenic Council, right? When you go to the white fraternities, the white Greek fraternities, they're not calling themselves Hellenized, right? That's their culture. When they trace their ancestors back, they can all go back to the Grecians, to the Romans and stuff like that. That's their culture, right?
Right.
Literally, when you get into the National Panhellenic Council, it's letting you know that you trying to be something that that's not you. In layman's terms, what is it trying to tell you? You're trying to be like the white man, and even lamer than that is you're trying to be a Uncle Tom, a Coon, a Theo Tomas.
Right. It's saying you've been gentrified. Hey, can you get the definition for Hellenic?
Salakia, man, they popping fireworks, and every time they do, these dogs going the heck off. Got my children crying. It's madness over here right now. World War IV.
Hellenic means Greek. Go to Hellenized for me. I'm trying to find the definition. Hellenized. Hellenization, Salakia. Hellenization. We got to understand these terms to understand the deeper meaning of the origins of what's going on. Right? Let's read this real quick. and then we're gonna go to our precept in Maccabees.
Right. So Helen. Oh, go ahead.
It says Hellenization or Hellenism refers to the spread of Greek culture that had begun after the conquest of Alexander the Great in the 4th century BCE. One must think of the development of the Eastern Mediterranean really in 2 major phases, right? So they already highlighted the part where I want to make emphasis on, or they put it in bold, the spread of Greek culture that had begun after the conquest of Alexander the Great in the 4th century. So a lot of times when we read this Bible, we see a lot of history, right? We see the Jews, we see the Israelites, we see the Egyptians. What also do we see? We also see the Babylonians, we see the Persians, we see the Medes, right? We also see what? The Assyrians. Then we go to the New Testament. What do we see? We see the Romans. But where is the Greek history at? Where is the Greek history at? The Bible covers a multitude of history, but where's the Greek history? That right there lets us know that we got to do what? We got to study to show ourselves approved. And so that's when you find out that what? They took some books out of the Bible. And that bunch of history, right, was in the middle. That whole history of Greece was taken out, right, for a reason. Because you can go to these Catholic churches and they still have that in their Bibles. But you gotta say something?
Salaki, go ahead.
What I was gonna say was this history that we're seeing on Google right now is in the Bible, right? If we could go to 1 Maccabees chapter 1, right? Just pull up the whole chapter.
Hey, if I could ask you, the brother Donald share his screen real quick. I'm finna transition real quick. Hold on.
We're gonna go to 1 Maccabees chapter 1 to get some history, right? Because nothing is new under the sun. We're not telling y'all this because we feel a way. We're telling y'all this because it's history. It's Factual Friday, right? This is actual history. And this, if history and truth is not the reason to get out of something, I don't know what is. Right? 1 Maccabees chapter 1. You there? All right, cool. I was just trying to get there too in the book, but let's go. So if you could read from verse 1.
First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse number 1. And it happened after that, Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chedum, had smitten Darius, king of Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece.
The first over Greece. So check this out. Can you pull up Google real quick? I know the Ak had it pulled up, but can you pull up Hellenization? Just so we can see the parallels between the actual text in the scriptures and actual history. We're not making this up, right? Hellenization. You don't have to type in definition. Right? It says the spread of Greek culture that had begun after the conquest of Alexander the Great. So let's go back to First Maccabees.
Man, we're seeing a confirmation of history in the Bible.
This is a conquest. What's a conquest? When somebody's trying to conquer multiple regions and reign over them. So that's what verse 1 was just talking about. He conquered the Persians and the Medes, which the Persians and the Medes had conquered the whole earth, right? With that Neo-Babylonian empire. But it gets better, right? Let's read verse 2.
Verse 2, and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth.
That's his conquest, right? So as he's conquering these people, he's making them turn Greek. All right. Read the next verse.
Verse number 3, and went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, and so much that the earth was quiet before him.
right? So this is enforcing this is much like what America did, right? This is much like what Christopher Columbus did, right? They took all the spoils of the Native Americans, and what they do, they forced their ideologies on them and lifted up themselves, right? Off the backs of other people and the bloodshed of other people, right? Let's go down. Read verse 4.
Verse number 4.
This is history. Look, this is history our people need to know, because we're not taught this history. We're taught that Alexander was Alexander the Great, right? We're not taught that Alexander was a bad man. But according to the Bible, Alexander was not a good man, right? We go in our history classes and they teach us about Alexander the Great. Then we all have to pick a Greek god and a Greek goddess to perform or to do a project on. You know what I'm saying? And they hype it up and they desensitize us and they make us think that their way is the best way. But the Bible speaks otherwise, right? Let's read this.
Verse 4, and he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto them.
Right. So a tributary is what? A tributary is somebody that notices somebody else's power and says, guess what? We don't want no parts. We're going to do what you say. So they was either conquering people, killing them, or making people their allies, right? Let's read verse 7. Drop to verse 7.
Verse number 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died.
Right.
Keep reading.
Go to verse 9.
Verse number 9. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth.
Right. So after Alexander, who the world calls Alexander the Great, passed away, he gave his reign to a few people, and they gave it to their sons, and evil in the earth waxed more and more. Iniquity in the earth waxed more and more. It didn't say the world got better. It didn't say Greek culture was the way to go. The Bible says that the Bible says, and evils were multiplied in the earth. So all that culture that came with Greek life, guess what? It multiplied in the earth, and it was called evil. Now, our people in Divine 9, they'll say, we ain't got nothing to do with Greek life. We ain't got nothing. Look, I was in there. It's based off of Greek mythology, African American history, and what else? Slave history and stuff like that. But guess what? You can't have all three of those in the same place, because one, you can't be African, you can't be Greek, you can't do all these cultures at one time. That's confusion. That's madness, right? You've been Hellenized and you've been taught things in your process, made to do things in your process that are not of our culture. It's of a Greek culture, right? And it was forced on our people. And now you taking it cheerfully, right? Read verse 10. Verse 10 and 11 gets deep.
Verse 10, and there came out of them a wicked root of Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been a hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks.
So this is the point right here, right? Blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, Aborigines, Africans of Negro descent are the Israelites according to the Bible. We fit those curses, right? We're constantly being enslaved for no reason. We're constantly being punished for sinning against the Most High God. We were sold into slavery. We were brought into other lands that were not our own, right? So us being Israelites, we got to understand that this Bible is our culture. This Bible is our history. This Bible is our social group. This Bible is the way we make it in life. This Bible is how we get our benefits, right? Not any other way. Like we read in Job 14:4, you can't bring a clean thing out of something that's unclean. Meaning I can't pray over it. I can't try to change it. I can't make a crooked path straight, right? So let's read verse 11, because when I read verse 11, this is what made me spring into action and actually come out of Greek fraternity and Greek life. I stopped playing with it after I read this, right? So I'm gonna break it down how I received it, right?
Verse number 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men.
Hold up, read that one more time.
In those days went there out of Israel wicked men.
Right. So all of us, we're not holy. All of us, we're not righteous. Hey, look, Israel is just like all the other nations. We got a balance. We got wicked people. We got good people. You know what I'm saying? But this is saying wicked men went out of Israel. Let's see what those wicked men did. Not good men, not righteous men, not men of the Lord, but wicked men. Let's see what they did.
Con.
Go back up to 11.
Right. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, "Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us."
Right. So stop right there. Who persuaded many? Like the brother said in his testimony, the first thing you do when you get to school, when you get to college, is see Greek life. You see the plots. You see these shrines. You see Greek letters. They ask you which one you're going to pledge. They have them step in front of you while you're eating food, right? They have them helping you move stuff into your dorm room. They have you doing all these things, right? They have you doing all these things, persuading you, persuading the masses, persuading many, right? Off rip, before you can even get started, persuading many, saying what? Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are around about us. Hey, look, we're a minority. These people are in charge. This is how they operate. This is how they get jobs. This is how they stay plugged in, right? So let's read from there where it says, for since
we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
We have had much sorrow. What is he talking about? Since we've departed from them, right? Since we departed from them, since we wanted to do our own thing, when we made Black Wall Street, we've had much sorrow. When we wanted to do our own thing, we've had much sorrow, right? So they said, guess what? Let's get these benefits. Let's make a covenant with them. What's a covenant? Let's get a ritual book. Let's get down on our knees and go before a shrine with the lights out in a black suit with a white shirt, hands up to the right, hands up to the sky, hand on our Bible, and make a covenant with them, saying, guess what? We'll do what y'all want us to do. We'll live the way y'all want us to live if we can get that job, if we can get that girl, if we can get that money, if we can get that good grade, right? So verse 12 says what?
Verse 12, so this device pleased them well.
Right. It pleased them well. So a lot of our people, we get pleased well when we make covenants with the heathen because our burden is taken off of us, right? Our sorrow is put to a cease, right? Read verse 13 for me.
Verse 13, then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen.
Right. So guess what? Certain of our people went forward, right? They're doing the most at this point. They're going to the king, right? Let's see in verse 14. This is history. Look, this is history our people need to know that we was never taught. We wasn't taught that this was a shame to us, right? Nowadays, we have sayings like, oh, so-and-so ain't black. Do you hear the way he talk? You see the way he dressed? You see the way she act? They're not black. I'm taking your black card, right? There's certain things in the black community where we say, guess what? It's shameful. This used to be shameful to us. The Greek culture, right? Read verse 14.
Verse 14, whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen.
Right. So they went into their own churches, and guess what? Now they're pastors, right? Now their pastors are what the heathen are. They're Greek. Just like today, our pastors are Greek. So we can't even go to our pastors and ask them because they're already biased. You know what I'm saying? And we take up these customs. What customs are these, right? Let's keep reading. Where you going?
It's like you. Verse 15, and made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant, right, and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief.
We're sold to do mischiefs, right? Because a lot of us don't know that we selling our soul when we're before a shrine. Can you go to Google for me?
God.
I want you to type in seance.
How you spell that?
SEANCE. Right. It says a meeting at which people attempt to make contact with the dead, especially through the agency of, what does it say?
Screen's not all the way in.
I'm guessing it says of a medium.
It's like, let me widen my screen out. Yeah, of a medium. That's it.
Right? So it's talking about what? Making contact with the dead. I want you to go to images real quick.
Doesn't that look familiar?
Right. Doesn't that look familiar? Look at them dressed up in their suits. Keep scrolling though.
Black.
Look at the candles, right?
Candles.
If you pledged, you know you felt this, right? In a room with a suit on and candles. You didn't know you was operating and contacting the dead and in a seance.
Con, I want to make a statement too, right? Even the women, what are they wearing? They're wearing white. If you're in sororities, you know, man, when you get to that final stage, you wearing white. Look at this. She wearing white. Scroll down. What is she doing? She wearing white.
Right. They could be wearing anything, but they're dressed up.
Con.
So that's the point right there. You can go back to the precept, right? It says let's go to, I want to go to chapter 2 now. First Maccabees chapter 2. First Maccabees chapter 2 and 27. Right? Because we just read that it says, since we departed from them, what? Since we departed from them, we've had much sorrow. So guess what? It's going to be harder for you to graduate. It's going to be harder for you to get a job after you graduate. It's going to be harder for you to provide for a family and make money. You're going to be in sorrow. You know what I'm saying? And even on a tenfold level, America itself is Greek. You can see it in the construction of the way these buildings, in the architecture, right? You can see in the holidays and the calendars that we operate with. America, and even the names of the week, we can see Greek culture all over it. And we know that we'll fight in Greek militaries, you know what I'm saying? And we'll make covenants and swear in, right, for them benefits, even with the Greek military. So nothing is new under the sun, right? But one thing about it is doing something blindly, right? You have forgiveness for if you come to the knowledge of the truth and you change. But if you do it willfully, like we read earlier, it's no excuse for that, right? And if it's plain as day, right, we shouldn't do it. If they're telling you it's Greek, we shouldn't do it because that's not us. Let's read this real quick. First Maccabees 2 and 27.
First Maccabees 2 and 27. And Mattathias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me.
Right. So, hey, look, that's a hard thing to do because that's what me and the brothers is doing today. If you zealous of the law, hey, let's leave this thing. Come up out of there. Right. And that's a hard thing to do because you have a lot of eyes on you. You got a lot of people putting their opinions on you. You got a lot of people slandering your name so that they're not slandered. Because the thing about it is when righteousness comes out of something that's dirty, all eyes are on the thing that was dirty. They're like, hold up, I know so-and-so is righteous. Why did they leave? Is something wrong with what they was in? And brothers and sisters don't want that. They don't want to be a part of something that's dirty. So when you leave, guess what? All eyes are on you and they're attacking you, right? They don't want you to leave. They want, huh?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say there's a Bible verse that says that a drunk man wants to see other people drunk, paraphrasing something like that. You know what I'm saying? Somebody in sin wants to see. They're not happy. Hold up, I know what I want. Salakia.
And I was gonna say too, man. When it's time to leave, man, it's time to leave. You do that thing called turkey. This is a quick story about how, you know what I'm saying, we finally threw the towel in. Right, it was one day we was out there at the fraternity house and it was a fish fry, and we just wasn't feeling it, man. We felt the wickedness, man, and we gave them the benefit of doubt. Right, we went over there to fellowship and be friendly and whatnot, and we just couldn't take it no more. So we got in the car and we went to go to a fishing trip. Right, but we were like, man, we can't do this no more. We got to conversating, conversing. And so what we did was we rounded up all of our paraphernalia. Right, if you don't know what paraphernalia is it's just gear. So all the shirts that we had, paddles that we had, if we had shorts, anything, you know what I'm saying? All the paraphernalia we had throughout the years, we put it in trash bags and we dropped it at the back of the frat house. Now, technically, we were supposed to burn them things, right? And if I go back today, I would burn them, right? There's a lot of brothers and sisters that's in this truth that did that burned them. I know a brother, he in IUIC now, he got all his stuff together. He burned them on camera and then put it on social media, right? And that's sometimes what we got to do. We stood boldly in this thing when we believed we were doing right. Now we got to stand boldly and to tell people, hey, we was doing wrong.
Right. Can you go to Proverbs 4 and 16 real quick? Proverbs 4 and 16, because you saying something, Yeshaya?
You on mute? Say something.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
When you came in, did you check your mic in? Is your phone on what's the name? On silent mode?
Proverbs 4 and 16, Khan.
Say something. Can't hear you up.
Yeah, can't hear you. But Proverbs 4 and 16 says this.
For they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall.
Right. So we see this in Divine 9 or Greek letters, right? We already know that they don't go to sleep for real. Once I became a member of Omega Psi Phi, I was told that my sleep schedule was never going to be the same, and they was right. We never went to sleep. We always was getting in some mischief. Sleep is always taken away, and we're always trying to cause somebody else to get into some mischief. You know what I'm saying? And that is just, if we understood this Bible, we would have been able to tell what we was doing was wrong, but we couldn't understand because we didn't read the Bible. You know what I'm saying? I know as a testimony, and this is all facts. After I crossed, it was some other brothers that crossed in the same fraternity, and they crossed a few days before me. We're all in the front yard of this house party, and we're all talking. And one of the brothers says, "Hey, I know y'all felt it too." And we said, "What's that?" He said, "Man, as soon as we pledged, man, I realized this is evil, but we here now." And all of us kind of laughed it off, but we all could tell it was evil, right? We all could tell it was evil, but we put that to the back, right? And that's the dangerous thing about sin, right? It's a split second where you have to make the right decision, right? And only the Most High God can show mercy and bring you back from that if you make that decision, or He can give you over to your ruin, right? Go ahead.
I like to say, man, I remember I had a conversation the day we got read in, the day we took the rituals and said the oaths and stuff like that, right? And we came out and I had a question, man. And I was talking with a brother and I told him, I said, "Hey, look, man, I'm denouncing this fraternity if I'm ever on my deathbed, right? Because y'all not finna sing me into Omega Land, because I don't know where that's at." I said, "Man, when I go from here, I want to go to the Father," right? At the time, I said I wanted to go to heaven, right? I said, when I leave here, I'm trying to go to heaven. I don't want to go to Omega Land, right? It sparked a conversation, and he asked one of our big brothers and said, "Isn't Omega Land heaven, right?" Because he's trying to make sense out of this fraternity. He's trying to make this fraternity good, right? What they'll say is, when you die, you go to Omega Land, but Omega Land is heaven, right? And so my thing is, what happens to the people that aren't Omegas? How do they get in Omega Land? How is it heaven if it only allows Omegas, right? So I used to tell them brothers all the time, right? You can ask anybody that was on my line, "Hey, look, if I'm ever on my deathbed, make sure I denounce this fraternity, because y'all not finna send me to Omega Land, bro. I want to go to heaven." You know what I'm saying? And so just little things like that, you'll get in, man, and you'll see that it's bigger than what people want to make it, right? People know it's wrong, but people want to twist it and make it seem like it's still good, right? But at the end of the day, what's crooked, you can't make straight. That's why you can poke so many holes in false doctrines, right? You can poke so many holes when they say Omega Land is heaven. Well, why can't everybody go to Omega Land, right?
Can y'all hear me?
We hear you.
Con. Hey, I want to make a point though. When it comes to fraternities and sororities, man, we gotta have the people who want to join these things look at how twisted it is in a sense, like you just was elaborating on. I don't know what all I missed, but I know that you was just elaborating on, Omega Land, that being for people who are Omegas, you know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be heaven, right? Think about it like this, man. There was a point that one of my sisters made earlier about someone that we know was just commenting on, telling us to tread lightly when it comes to speaking on topics like this, right? In the sense of, like the brothers were saying earlier, they tell you all the bells and whistles with coming and joining these organizations is you get jobs, you get this, that, and the third, you get all this stuff, right? Somebody that we love dearly was telling us to kind of like tread lightly with this topic because you kind of don't want to, get yourself in a position where you can't get hired by nobody. How much, you know what I'm saying, madness is that? The fact that before anything, we should all be people. You know what I'm saying? We should all be one people before we're anything else. Like before you're a Q or before you're a Kappa, before you're AKA, before you're a Delta, whatever you are, before you're any of that, black should always be black, for lack of better terms. You know what I'm saying? You see a black Hispanic, you know what I'm saying? You should want to help them out regardless. But now it's so madness. It's in the sense where there's a division. It's like, oh, I'm helping this person because he's in so and so, so and so. You know what I'm saying? This person because they're in so and so, so and so. That's kind of like madness, right? That's truly not building up a nation. And this is why we say these organizations, in a sense, are backwards, definitely backwards, because they're not really truly doing anything for our people. They're talking about what they do for our people. But if you ask, I can ask a handful of people who want to be in organizations or who are in organizations, I can ask them and say, what do these organizations do? How do they benefit our community? A lot of them are going to tell you, well, they benefit our community by, giving back. In what way do our people give back in these communities? Con, go ahead.
I was gonna say, to add to your point, man. We've been in the fraternity and we've seen the it's all a act, right? It's all a facade. I'll say that because I'll name two instances, right? So they say the fraternities give back to the community, this, that, and the third, right? When it goes to community service, right? Fort Valley, we weren't supposed to name no schools, but it's like it. So the school we went to, man, it was kind of in the hood, right? And so it was community service day, and all the organizations were supposed to, gather trash and pick up trash in the community, right? To, because, in the hood, people don't really care about the hood, right? And so it was like community cleanup day, right? And so to the fraternity we was in, man, we faked it so much, so bad that we didn't even leave the frat house the day before we had partied, right? We didn't even leave the frat house to go do the community cleanup. What we did was picked up trash from the frat house, from the party, put it in trash bags, and then we took pictures with it. Like, we did something for the community, right? And a lot of the stuff like that is fake love towards our people, right? They say that that fraternity is supposed to be uniting our people, but when you get in fraternity, you realize, like the brother said, it's like a gang, and you're really against everybody. The Omegas against the Kappas, right? And it's to the point where you look at somebody wrong in a different organization, you fighting, right? People losing their lives, you know what I'm saying? People getting sent to the hospital, getting shot at, you know what I'm saying? But I thought it was supposed to be uplifting our community, right? I thought it was supposed to be, you know what I'm saying, Greek unity, you know what I'm saying? So everything that this culture stands for, you know what I'm saying, is straight hypocritical. And we see that even in Greek life, when you watch old movies like Troy and all this stuff, even they go against their own standards and their own morals. You know what I'm saying?
And I was going to say, too, can you go to 2 Kings 17 and 35? 2 Kings 17:35. I want to make 3 quick points backing up what you guys said, right? So I got 3 precepts to go into that real quick.
You said
2 Kings 17 and 35.
It's like it.
Right? Like the brother said, set banging. Because look, and we're gonna get into that too, because the reason why we're going into this because we're trying to get our culture back after being made to do something else. You know what I'm saying? And right now, we're indulging in the curses as they're a good thing, multiple ways, and we're also, you know what I'm saying, we're not taking heed to our commandments. But can you read this for me, Baba Kasha?
Khan, before I read this, let me know when I can go on a quick little like 2-minute, 3-minute segue, emphasizing Hellenization. Again, I found some things that I wanted to share. You just let me know when it's the right time to bring that out. But yeah.
All right, you can. After I get these 3 points, I was gonna go to Second Maccabees chapter 4, and then after we read that, you can do it. That's a good segue into it.
Khan. So verse 35, with whom the Lord had made a covenant and charged them, saying, ye shall not fear other gods.
Right. So check this out. Check this out, right? We made a covenant already with our God. So who are we to make a covenant behind his back with man, right? Making man gods, especially Greek gods. It says, ye shall not fear other gods, right? We shouldn't bow down to them. Even in action, we shouldn't make covenants with them and do as they say, nor serve them, nor sacrifice to them. Now, I'm saying this because the commandment is not to fear other gods. We're only supposed to fear our God. So if we fear another God, that's a sin. If we fear another man, that's a sin. And a lot of us, what we do is Stockholm syndrome. It's post-traumatic slavery, right? It's post-traumatic slavery PTSD, right? Because what? If we don't do it their way, we're not going to get a job. If we don't do this, we got to tread lightly because we might not get hired, right? But the Most High God wants to see people stand up for him no matter what happens in this life. You know what I'm saying? So we can't fear other people and make them gods. We're only supposed to fear the Most High God. That's a sin. And one thing that this organization does is make you fear men, make you fear women, right? Making them idols and gods, right? Can you go to Deuteronomy 4 and 2? The book of Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 2.
Hey, don't steal my precept at Deuteronomy 4, man.
Nah, I'm just going to read Deuteronomy 4 and 2. Right? What does this say?
Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall ye diminish aught from it, right, that ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I commanded you.
So this is what the brothers was just talking about. You can't make your own heaven. You can't take scripture and add Omega Man or Alpha Woman, or you can't take stuff and put it in your ritual book and add and subtract from this word. You can't do that, man. That's a sin. All right. And so knowing this is another reason why we're not supposed to be in that, because they make us take the word of God in vain. All right. That's another point I wanted to bring out that the brothers were saying. But go to Matthew 7 and 16. This is my third point. Right. Matthew 7 and 16. Because all this is not our culture. And if we would just read, a lot of us didn't read. Right. So check this out.
7 and 16. Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles?
Right. So guess what? You're going to know them by their fruit. Meaning what? You're going to know them by their actions. They say one thing and they do another. Right. And their fruits, are they really helping the community? Are they really changing lives? No, they're not. They doing that stuff, taking pictures and videos. Why? Because they covet one another. You know what I'm saying? Because they want the power. They want the influence. They want the notoriety. They're all vain. Right. And I'll say this too. Being in there, I noticed the fruits. And I noticed, even though they say they're a fraternity founded on Christian principles, right, or Christian manhood, guess what? They're not doing that, right? They cheating on their wives. They old men staring at little girls. You know what I'm saying? You know, they're doing all different types of drugs. You know what I'm saying? I can say this with a surety because they are doing it. That's their fruits. And it's not just one organization, right? The women, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a girl, man or a boy. And guess what? They're taking advantage of people. what the world may call rape. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? These people are getting away with it. Why? Because when you make a covenant with the heathen, your sorrows is taken away. You have all the pleasure in the world. That's why people can say, I don't know why nobody's looking into this. I don't know why nobody's doing an investigation. I don't know why the investigation's not coming to anything. I don't know why it just died down out of nowhere. Guess what? They made a covenant with the heathen. They're overnight fame. They're untouchable, right, in this life. You know what I'm saying? So this is how we know that this Bible is talking real time. Nothing's new under the sun.
Right. And it's crazy to me too, because it's like, man, people coming out of this thing and people are speaking up against, you know what I'm saying, Greek life and whatnot. And people will look at you like, man, like we're bugged out. But everybody in their mama know, if you went to a university, if you ever been to a fraternity party or whatnot, you telling me that everything that you've seen at a fraternity party lines up with the Bible, right? You seen men picking up girls and doing God knows what in front of everybody, right?
Licking on girls, you know. And my thing is this:
getting high.
My thing is this, though, right? My thing is, you'll come out of the fraternity or the sorority, and we know, we just went over it. They don't want to seem like bad people, so that's why they attack you when you come out, right? But what does light have to do with darkness, right? Light does not fellowship with darkness. And so the thing about it is they get to the point to where they say, well, that's just their walk in their faith. They had weak faith. That's between them. If being in a fraternity made your walk with Christ, that, you know what I'm saying, they'll go to that and try to gut check you, not knowing, guess what? It's because of that is the reason why I'm man enough or woman enough to come out of it, right? And your walk is so small, your walk is non-existent, and that's why you're staying where you are, because you don't fear the Most High God, you fear men. You want
like Nicodemus,
right?
Like Nicodemus. Nicodemus was a Pharisee, right? And he believed in Christ, but he didn't want nobody else to know, so he stayed a Pharisee.
God, hey, if I could make a point too, hey, put it like this, man. To the point the brother Donald was elaborating on earlier, I worked community service for my school, my college that I worked at, man. Not too shortly after, I was like, man, nah, I can't do it, bro, because I'm constantly spiritually fighting myself. I couldn't do it no more. So once I finally let them brothers know, like, hey, look, it ain't for me, bro. When we had a community service event a couple months later, around this time, you know what I'm saying, this where people supposed to be online, going through their little process, this, that, and the third, man. I'm telling you, man, when you talk about giving back to the community and you talking about helping our brothers and sisters and truly actually doing something for them for their benefit, not your benefit, community service at my college was such a BS type of thing, because I put it like this. When I was working community service, only time the fraternities and sororities showed up was when it was community service day, right? That's the only time. And they only did that to make their organization look good. You know, when you supposed to be getting work, getting your hands dirty, doing stuff like that, you're not gonna wear good clothes. You're not gonna put on smell good. You're not gonna look like you finna go to a party or you finna go give a presentation. You're not gonna go look like that before you go touch trash, walk around in heat and stuff like that. Man, people was pulling up fresh clothes, nice jackets, this, that, and the third. They went and grabbed a couple things of trash, took some pictures, and then they left. This was constant. And the students at our school, the instructor, the leader, my boss, my superior who was over that whole ordeal, she was trying to get people to do community service year round, right? But students would only do it as it gets closer to time to apply for clearinghouse, right? And clearinghouse is just basically saying if you have the right GPA and the right number of community service hours to become a part of an organization, right? At our school, that's how it was. So the only time people will want to care about giving back to the community is when it was involving a Greek lettered organization. And the Greek lettered organization themselves only cared about the community when it was literally for community service purposes to make themselves look good. Other than that, we didn't go help feed people. We didn't go clean up nothing. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of things that we falsified to make look good, right?
Right.
And this is why I say it's BS.
And a lot of these meetings, they tell you how to falsify stuff. They tell you how to finesse the system. Hey, go ahead and do this. Invite these many people so they can be in a picture so y'all can get the manpower hours or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of that is all why? Because they want notoriety. They want to be seen as the best. They don't want to really actually help their brothers and sisters that's homeless, like the Bible commands us to do, right? But can we get this out of the Bible real quick? 2 Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 15, right? We're going to read 15 through 17 because like we said, we don't want to give y'all our opinion. We want to give y'all facts. We want to give y'all history. We want to give y'all your culture back, right? We don't want to just be on here bashing people. We want to give y'all the truth so that you guys know right from wrong in the Bible and what our people was doing, right? And what our people should be doing. So this is 2 Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 15. Because this is a dagger too. Brothers know we pull this out whenever we see. And, you know, when we on the highways and byways, we try to get brothers and sisters to stop and talk to us. But they don't. They know for a fact if we go into this Bible, we can prove that they're doing something wrong. So they don't want to talk to us.
Daggers.
Right? I think out of probably 15 people we've tried to stop, you know, we've only talked to one lady, one sister. You know what I'm saying? And she kind of heard about the Israelites already. Right? Well, we talked to another sister too at a homecoming too. And I think she was kind of intoxicated, but the brother Yeshaya did a very good video, whether she was edified or not, you know what I mean? Good teaching on that. You know what I'm saying? And we always go here. So let's read this real quick.
The book of 2 Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 15. Not setting by the honors of their fathers.
Guess what? It was honorable to be an Israelite. It was honorable to be a Jew. It was honorable to do the law, statutes, and commandments. Right? Let's read.
But liking the glory of the Grecians best of all.
Right. But we like, it's nothing new under the sun. Our people have always liked the culture and the things that came with being another people. You know what I'm saying? But it's honorable to do things the way the Most High God had us do it and be the people that he said we would never be ashamed to be. Right?
I got
you
something for that.
Come. And another way to look at this, man, where it says not setting by honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all, man. In a way, man, it's you can even look at it like, man, our ancestors, the ones that went through the transatlantic slave trade, they're rolling in their grave right now, right? Because of the same people that came and enslaved them and did them so bad, raped, robbed, and murdered them, right? We're trying to be like those people, right?
Put suits on, go to meetings, have forums, do all these stupid events. You know what I'm saying? Speak like them, act like them.
Speak like them, act like them, dress like them. Now we're wearing suits and ties. We never used to wear suits and ties. You know, in the movie Yellowstone, there's a Jake, right? And he was sitting outside of the bar, and a man tried to give him some money, thought he was homeless, and he said, I don't need your money, man. And before the man walked away, he noticed that Jake noticed that the white man had a suit and a tie on, right? And he said, you know what they say about ties, right? That's the leash that your master cut off because you know you ain't going nowhere, right? You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing, man. You dress up in that suit and tie, right? It's for a purpose, right? It's because you don't want to get fired from your job, you got to dress like that. Or because you want a job, you got to dress like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you continue to dress like that because you don't want to, and you're not going nowhere, like the brother said. But go ahead.
Now I'll let the brother Azrael finish making this point before I bring it out.
All right, go. I want you to go up real quick since we're talking about that. Go up to verse 10 real quick. Go to verse 10. You can just go to view chapter, to be honest.
God.
Go to verse 10. Right? Read that.
Verse 10, which when the king had granted and he had gotten into his hand the rule he Slaki. I'm gonna read that from the top. Which when the king had granted and he had gotten into his hand the rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to Greekish fashion.
Right. So guess what? When you bring a nation to Greekish fashion, like the brother just said, ATR Israel, it says what? It says you've been Hellenized. That's why we went over that definition. People being Hellenized. But keep reading.
And the royal privileges granted for special favor to the Jews.
And the what?
And the royal privileges granted of the special favor to the Jews.
Right. So guess what? People's getting royal privileges. That's what we keep talking about. People making covenant for these royal privileges. right? That's the point I wanted, though. People is making covenants to get further in life, right? They want a lifetime of pleasure, right? A moment of pleasure, right? And they're gonna get a lifetime of pain, as we're gonna read. So let's go to verse 16.
Verse 16, by reason whereof sore calamity came upon them, for they had them to be their enemies and avengers, whose custom they follow so earnestly, and unto whom they desire to be like in all things.
Hey, look, I want to make an emphasis. It says, whose custom they followed so earnestly, right? Meaning, guess what? We take it more serious than they do, right?
That brings me to that scene where you know what I'm saying, in Django, where he said, screw everything you saying, but who is this nigga on this nag?
Right.
He said, your father would be rolling in his grave.
Right. The house niggas are more racist than a racist white man. But right. I want to make this point because even if you look at the so-called white people and their Greek fraternities and sororities, after they graduate, man, they don't hang on to that stuff. It's only our people that act so earnestly to be like these people. Gotta uphold a standard. Gotta make it a lifelong thing, right? Gotta have all these rituals and stuff like that. The so-called white people, all these other nations, they do it for fun. They don't do it for the reasons why we do it. Our people be 55 years old and still be repping Greek. Shake my head. We be going harder than the heathen with it. Con, and that's what this is saying. We're the ones that's going to the cookouts, the reunions, the founders days, what's it called when colleges have homecomings. We're doing all those things earnestly and proud of it, right? Got a
AGP.
whole family, right? And some of us don't even have families because we let these fraternities and organizations, these sororities, rule over our life. And that's why it says by reason sore calamity came upon them, right? But read verse 17 real quick.
For it is not a light thing to do wickedly against the laws of God.
For it is not light. It's not, hey, you're doing wickedly, don't take it light. And a lot of our brothers and sisters take it light and say that they're still a woman of God or a man of God. They'll still show up to church. They'll still put a scripture on the bottom of their picture. They'll still, you know what I'm saying, claim to be holier than thou, right? But keep reading.
But the time following shall declare these things.
Hey, look, judgment's coming, and that's going to tell us who's right and who's wrong. You know what I'm saying? Don't be Hellenized. Take your culture back. If you don't have your culture, if you don't know what your culture is, we're going to go into that too.
Con, hey, I got just a couple precepts to bring out real quick. Can you pull up for me, Baba Kashab, Brother Donald, pull up for me the book of Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6 real quick.
God. Book of Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
So right here is an establishment of the Most High God telling his chosen people that you are above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So when you go read 2 Maccabees 4:15 through 17, and you see that how our people earnestly wanted to be like the Greeks, they literally forgot the thing that the Most High said to us, right? Jump down to verse number 8 real quick.
Verse number 8. But because the Lord loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he has sworn unto your fathers, has the Lord brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of a bondman, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt.
So literally in Deuteronomy 8 and also the book of Ecclesiastes 7 and 7, it talks about how we should not, or in it's Deuteronomy 16, I think too, but it talks about how gifts destroy our hearts. When you start getting things of the world, you literally forget the things that the Most High God has done for you. It literally talks about, I think in Deuteronomy 8, that it says that, you know, you get a gift, you're going to forget the things that I did for you, or how I brought you out of the land of Egypt. The Lord literally called us in 7 and 6. He said we're above all people upon the face of the earth. So why would we want to follow after Greek customs, right? Go to, if you could, pull up Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse number 9. And mighty point by the brother Obadiah, 55 years old, and still be repping it hard. I see old heads driving around with all these Delta Sigma Theta and Christ tags, Omega Psi Phi and Christ tags.
What
I
had a delivery today, and the lady, bruh, she was a member of Delta Sigma Theta. Her whole garage is red and cream, bruh. She's an old lady, bruh. She had to be at least 75, right? 2 cars in the garage, both of them decked out with DST emblems, right? The whole garage was painted crimson and cream, and then she got elephants lining her driveway, bruh. Today, bruh. It's wild stuff.
Madness. Right? Matter of fact, start at scroll up a little bit. Scroll up a little bit. Start at verse number 6 for me.
Verse number 6. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all.
Go ahead.
Which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
So if you read verse 5, this is talking about the law, statutes, and commandments that the Most High God gave to us. He said, keep ye therefore and do them, because this will be our wisdom and understanding in the sight of the nations, and they'll call us a wise and understanding people. This is what the Lord told us, right? But verse number 7.
Verse number 7. For what nation is there so great, who has God so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for?
So what nation is there that's greater than us, right? Because we have a God that is so nigh unto us. Can you read verse 8 for me, Baba Kasha?
And what nation is there so great that has statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law, which I set before you this day?
So it's kind of like crazy to believe. Now, there's a reason why you can read 2 Maccabees 4:15 and think like, how could these people that had this great laws, that these was the only people that were given these great laws, how could they go from being above all people to now wanting to be like other people, right? And I'm pretty sure brothers will get into that. But it's just madness when you think that the Lord literally said we were the greatest nation on the face of the earth, and then he gave us laws, statutes, and commandments and said, what nation is there that is so great that has these laws, statutes, and judgments, right? It's crazy to think that and see how we live even today's time. We literally forgotten who we are as a people because we want to be like everybody else. Your Greek culture, like the brother Azrael is going to go into, that's not our heritage. That's not our custom. We don't thrive in that. Even with all the people who are in Greek letter organizations, fraternities, sororities, it don't matter. Even with all the people across HBCUs or PWIs, whatever you go to, grad chapters, don't matter. Still, our nation is not where it should be. You know what I'm saying? And that's what people given the understanding that they think that you join these fraternities, sororities, and that they do for our people, and that they sit up here and you put it on the pillar, right? Like when you go to college, they glorify this stuff. But it's crazy to think that with all this glory, we had a set of laws, statutes, commandments, and righteous rituals that we perform, that the Most High God gave us directly by way of the king, the leader Moses, the shepherd. We have laws, statutes, judgments, rituals that were given to us by the Most High God, and we chose the Greeks over ours. We chose everybody else's culture over ours, and that's why it's crazy to think the state that we're in as a people today is literally because of the things that we've done aforetime and the things we're still yet doing. But are you?
What I was gonna say was, Denal, I know you had your Hellenization facts, and I know we still got some stuff to cover, but we're at like an hour and 59 minutes. I was wondering if you guys wanted to finish this up at a part 2 tomorrow for the Sabbath lesson class. And we start with the Hellenization, unless you wanted to end with the Hellenization.
We can start with the Hellenization.
So, this was a good edifying class. You know what I'm saying? At times, brothers may have seemed like we got long-winded, but we're really passionate about getting y'all to understand what our culture is and what our heritage is, which we're going to be getting into tomorrow in the part 2, right? But today we went over how the Bible, the scriptures said that this was evil, saying that wanting to be like the Greeks was a wicked thing from the children of Israel, right? It's saying we went over how Hellenization was not a good thing, right? Being made is not a good thing, but it was seen as a bad thing according to the Bible, right? And so we're gonna try to end this up, wrap this up, and then tomorrow, because I don't want people to look at the timestamp and be like, oh, I'm not watching all that. They're not talking about nothing. So we're at 2 hours now. So this will be part 1. Part 2, we're gonna go over more on Hellenization, and we're gonna also go over our heritage and our culture and the things that our people did so that they would not partake in Greek culture and how they were persecuted for it, for small things. You know what I'm saying? Small things they would not let themselves do, right? But with that, I'm gonna say I'm Azrael, and I yield if brothers got closing statements.
Yeah, just to add on that, man. And the emphasis on Hellenization that I want to go into is us seeing actually Hellenization in the Bible, and the term Hellenization used in the Bible, right? And who are these Hellenized people in the New Testament, right? And we're gonna get into that a little bit tomorrow.
Because our whole thing is. I was trying to say our whole thing is, what does light have to fellowship with darkness? And also we should abstain from what? The appearance of evil. So if brothers have witnessed this stuff, experienced this stuff, and it's telling you they've seen evil, they've witnessed evil, right? We've done evil, and we're confessing with our mouth to the brethren, right? It says confess one to another so that you can be saved, right? So if we're confessing this, we're trying to get not just us saved, but everybody saved. So if we're saying it's evil, we got to abstain from even the appearance of it. But
Khan, and closing statement, yeah. Salakia, hey, I know we was a little long-winded today, but definitely we're going to get a lot more tomorrow. And, as time goes on, going to get a lot more elaborative on what it, like the brother said, Hellenization, the actual ritualistic, the symbolism, something that we also going to focus on a little bit more too, just so that way we can show our people a lot more how this contradicts with the Bible, man, because there's hidden messages in everything, right? Righteous and unrighteous. And the Most High made that. He made the evil and he made the righteous. You know what I'm saying? He made the clean and the unclean. The Most High made these things, right? But he didn't give any man license to sin according to Sirach 15 and 20, which is Ecclesiastes 15 and 20, right? So we got to understand that when it comes to these organizations, these cultures, these customs, right? They're not ours. I got a friend who I talk to and I love like a brother. We talk all the time. He's in an organization, right? And when I first came into the truth, I used to argue with him like almost every day because I seen the mindset change. And in me, it was like I couldn't do this and I had to try to get him out of it. We go back and forth. Even today, when I told him to join the video, we was just kind of going back and forth about a conversation about what it is that his organization does different from everybody else's, and how the wickedness that goes on in every other organization doesn't take place in his organization, right? But just because you don't see it firsthand doesn't mean that it's not there and it's not happening. So Lord willing, when we do part 2, we can go into a lot of these things that our people might not be able to see. But mighty lesson spearheaded by the brother Azrael, the brother Donald. I hope y'all were edified. Most High willing, like we said, part 2 tomorrow. I'm brother Yeshaya and I yield.
So with that, part 2 coming up tomorrow, Sabbath lesson. Most High will, the brothers can all be together. But yeah, y'all study hard, Israel. For those that logged on, you could be doing anything on this Sabbath day, but you're studying the word, right? You came out of the world. You came out of Babylon. You're not partying. You're not drinking. You're not smoking. You're not doing something you should not be doing, but you're in this world, making the Sabbath day holy. Like he said, keep it holy, right? So with that, we give all honor and praise and glory to the Most High God by the way of his Son, who's an instrument of salvation for the nation of Israel, right? We say shalom.